All right, here's our next project for my brother. Half disassembled truck. It's already, last time we worked on it, we put drop spindles on it. We flipped and reverted the rear springs for our lowering. We're going to be putting, this was a diesel. We're going to be putting a pumped up 350. And yeah, this is the start of it. Bear with us. All right, we are doing this old square body Chevy. My brother took it apart. We did a bunch of drop stuff, drop spindles, flipped the rear, or reverted the rear springs. Got to remove that hardware still. We're doing a simple cleanup. Nothing actually too crazy. Just clean it up. We got the back, and I'm gonna lift the cab tomorrow. Get under there. Probably put in new body mounts, motor, all that within the next few days. But these are drop spindles. I believe 4-inch, 3-inch, something like that. But we'll find out. We're putting them together. To be continued. As usual, back at it. There's our paint we put on last night. Everything's kind of drying up, curing. We're working some more aspects. Like I said, this is just kind of a quick cut and buff. Or not cut and buff, but scuff and buff. Just gonna finish cleaning some of this grime off the bottom side. I got a lot of it with degreaser already. Sprayed it out with air, pretty healthy, and got a lot of it off. Still got about maybe 25% left. Get the rest of this residue off with a rag, whatnot. I mean, all the little valves and stuff came clean. We're gonna just keep on pushing. Get this sprayed up, wipe down, whatnot, and we're gonna drop it down. Try to get the bed back on it today. See where we're at with the wiring harness. We have a new harness going in here as well. And then drop a 350 in, a healthy one. But I want to get this firewall cleaned up, all this wiring, grime, grease, crap, and a lot of it's dried up already. Looking a lot better than it was. Well, bear with us. I'm gonna arm wrestle this truck by the end though. I got this. All right, we are back in action. We simply, man, not a super clean job, but basically just the coverage is all my brother wanted on this one. It's decently cleaned up, covered up, sprayed in, top to bottom. Oh, we missed a big spot. We'll fix that. But, we'll keep on going. Bear with us for the ride. All right, back at it. Like I said before, we're gonna in for a slight frame notch right here. Just where my silver pin marker is at. We're putting back in 2-inch box tubing from about here to about here. And then I'm probably going to build an inner plate like this out of quarter for full strength. And basically notching the front end, but maintaining the height for the correct bed mounts and making everything line back up. Alright, we're doing the frame notching now. Like I said before, 1/4 inch thick, 2-inch square tube. That'll allow us about 2 to 2.5 more inches of travel from the rear axle up, but yet maintain the height and give us plenty of durability with the frame itself. And in a minute I'm going to make a matching plate for the inside and simply just get all 4 corners in an X pattern style. We hit our couple holes here so that we can actually lock it in place. I've clamped everything up and in. Only do one side at a time for the strength, and you don't want to bend the frame as you do this because it'll drive funny. There you go, bear with us. Alright, here is the plate that we just made out of a cardboard template. Just carved it, plasma cut it. We're going to weld it to the 2-inch tubing that we have in there. We got it sucked tight to the frame, actually bent on this corner end a little bit. I want to kind of form it. As it heats up, it'll form right to it. Alright, it's bag of hard work here. I got my son getting down. We're just simply cleaning this notch up. I'm trying not to get sparks in my eyeballs. But we're going to go ahead and get this all buttoned up. He's cleaning up the pieces. I've got him experimenting welding, just learning now. Not too shabby. It's going to turn out good. It's strong. 2-inch box tube with the inner 1/4-inch plate to match. This side we're about to do the same thing on, and we're going to actually use the cutout from the other side, but keep in mind it's at an angle. So this is how it mounted on the frame over there. So we're going to do the same thing, try to match. We got our hole right there, which I'll line the other one up. We're going to go ahead and marker that out, and basically this plasma cut, add the tube up high, crimp it in tight, buzz it in, but one side at a time. That way you don't lose the integrity of the rear end and the way it's shaped, formed, and all that good stuff. Oh, yeah, keep on watching. Commercial break, commercial break. All right, little man, well, bigger than me man, has just successfully paired his first transmission. Showed him the trick with the torque converter to make her seat, and the checking of the torque converter to make sure you don't sandwich it in there and mess the front pump up, and how it should spin when these are paired together, as long as the torque converter bolt's seen in. But yeah, we're getting ready. We would use the forklift, but this will not fit under the truck even with it all the way lifted. So we are just going to use the simple old school cherry picker, pick up this whole unit. Motor mounts and everything are ready to go. We did pull the exhaust manifolds back off just to make sure we got the clearances, room, and everything. We're going to be wiring all this as well. Bear with us. We'll keep on going as we freeze our tails off. All right, blood, sweat, and tears. About a half hour. Everything lined up great. We're on top of the cross member bit down there. Used a jack to simply hold that up. You can see it in the center of the picture, the blue jack. Got our holes pretty much lined up. Motor mounts. We're going to go ahead, just make sure all this fitting is good. I think we still got room for an HEI distributor. If not, I got another option that's a little smaller. I think we're going to run an electric fuel pump, so we'll leave that block off on. Only other thing I'm really worried about is getting those headers in. Make sure the starter fits appropriate. And then, yeah, we're going to move on to the next step. We're going to wire this while the front end's off. Make it a little easier on us. Keep on watching. We got you. Hi, back at it, man. Next segment. This truck, long story short, was a diesel 6.2 liter, I believe. And we have converted it to gas. Therefore, we're going to change out the wiring harness from the cab forward to the rest of the truck. These are pretty simple, man. Honestly, everything's color coded. If you go online, it'll give you all the diagrams. Look at the shape of that opposed to the shape of the center one on there out of the three. This one, passenger side, the big one, and then the third one, it's all here. Just plug it in. What I like to do is simply kind of go through it, make sure we got no cracked wires. Maybe tape it up a little bit, make it look good while you're in there. You might as well. And I noticed some of the wiring clipped. No starter on this motor. I just found one. So that way we can heat shrink and solder is how I like to do them. And then we'll find the AC pump. I believe I've got alternator, brackets, the whole nine. And a lot of parts from 305 to 454 on Chevys for these old small blocks and big blocks. Some parts are common, other things are not. You can simply find this all online. And we're also mounting our headers. We're going to run exhaust on it maybe in the next segment. And man, like I said, this ain't no $1 million job. Just quick, slap it together, get it running, everybody's happy. All right, we are simply working our way through this. Got our plugs just kind of cleaned up. I use dielectric grease inside all my electrical connectors for the longevity. We got one pigtail. This will be for the front clip. We're going to be putting that on today. This little setup here, first side, this goes to the rear section for the tail lights. This section is for the motor. You simply wire up all our sensors. I put in an oil pressure sensor. Had to find a plug for that. And then one of these would be electric choke normally. And then water temp sensor. Start hooking up your vacuum lines. This runs the HVAC system for transferring the fans and whatnot. Sure you got all your dipsticks in. Dipstick there. What's going on, camera? Come on. Zoom, baby. Right there. Okay. And then back here, your tranny dipstick. We routed our wiring for the factory length. This goes to alternator. We got one end to put back on there. And these two ends are hot leads to this little junction box right there. For the most part, we got her already wired. You got your main hot for the battery. And that goes down and connects at the starter. You got one trigger wire, which would be to the right hand side. It's kind of behind that loom of wiring right there. And then right next to it, come on, camera. That other one, the main big nut at the fingertip, is for all the power, kind of the junction to the whole vehicle. And that's where the positive lead goes. It sure is locked on there good. Ain't going to rub, ground out. I also like to run a ground directly from a cleaned spot on the motor to the frame, and a clean spot, same spot, to the battery on the negative lead. This other stuff simply plugs into alternator. We got a couple wires left. Fuel line, I think we're going electric. Kind of test fitting a few of my different hoses, whatnot. I've got a newer radiator for this too. We'll just keep on moving. Keep on watching. I'll try to make this video short. Alright, we got the truck on the ground. Ready to go. Most of the wiring is pretty much tied in. Vacuums, all that good stuff. Gonna have to put on some accessories, alternator, power steering pump. Looking for a special pump for the Hydro Boost system. A little bit different, not much. Extra line or so. The front clip, you know, I decided to clean it up a little bit before I put it back on. So, bear with me. I'm just gonna give it a quick little shot just to clean it up a little bit. That's all we want. Then we're gonna go ahead and get this bad boy connected on there. Pop the hood on. Work our way to the back, start getting this thing back together. All right, here we go. Getting a little late on me. It's all right. We got our front end just simply started to line up. I put in these two top bolts there and in that other corner. And then lined up these two frame mounts, but actually looking for the bushing for the driver's side right now. That's other than that. Ground cable, couple wires. We're gonna have to shim up the front end as we go. You shim underneath between these two pieces of metal if you gotta lift it or lower it. And also make sure your door's open when you do this. Done that before, man. Then we'll get the radiator all set up. Maybe electric fans. Gonna figure out all the accessories now. Keep on watching. I got you. Alright, we are back on my brother's doodly. Just got done dropping out the gas tanks right there in the middle of the screen by my ramp. Those were diesel. We are setting up, actually right there, that rusty thing. I'm going to clean all that up, don't mind. I had to kind of situate a couple burrs on the back of the motor here where the torque converter ties in. I just took my little 2-inch die grinder with the Brillo. Set that up. Took some more tranny lines off another tranny I had out in the yard. That's all set up. We can go ahead and now put it back in. Alright, we back on my brother's project. Hooking this motor up. Changing out a few things on the intake, whatnot. Got to build some custom brackets that set this up. This is just below. These came in two styles. One that bolted to here and went to the top, or one that went over the top and clamped the radiator down. Go ahead and set that up, and then we're going to work our way on to the next piece of it. Slowly work our way through it, and we're going to get it handled. Alright, we have done a simple setup on a gas tank for now. These little tabs right here, I'm not going to touch it, it's hot. We got one in the back and one up front. We're going to actually gusset these in, kind of make them look a little better. Strength wise too, same deal, temporarily patched. I got a little piece cut out for the pumpkin to actually slide through. This piece is temporary. I'm going to order some straps to hold up the tank. This will put us at a pretty good level to fit under the bed. And yeah, all of our lines can be rerouted right down the frame. Everything's ready for us. Pulled off some of the crap, you know, just different stuff that was holding things that we don't need anymore on the frame too. But we got a pretty good clear shot. Tank's temporarily in. We will be putting straps, and I think with the ride height, I'm actually going to build some kind of a skid plate. I think we'll be all right. When we do those straps, we'll probably do the original placing of them right here. Put a adjustable bolt, strap under there, strap under there. We should be good. Start hooking everything back up. All right, getting late. I'm about to tap out. Anyway, just everything's fighting me on this bad boy tonight. Wrong thread on the bolts on the water pump. Missing this, missing that. Need studs for the carburetor. Simple vacuum lines. Putting the serpentine setup on this, and I had 3 sets. I'm trying to make sure I got the right components, all with the right components. Brand new water pump, painted that up, waited for that to dry. Like I said, every little plug is missing. We put a brand new intake, gaskets, all the above on there. Everything's all freshened up, Loctited, new harmonic balancer pieces, and you name it, we got it, man. But I think I'm gonna have to shorten this guy is a little long, and this one I've got another set of heads out here, so I must have put the one too long ones in there. Excuse my French. But we'll keep on going. We're going to tap out for the night, and I'll continue the video tomorrow. All right. We started the next day. A little late. We got a few components on the motor. We're starting to put all the serpentine belt setup. And there's multiple serpentine belt setups for these Chevys. We're going to be running an electric fan, so that's why that's bolted directly. Power steering pump, I had to wait for it in the mail. Now this one, there's 2 styles. Hydro Boost, which is basically the pedal is supplied with extra boost pressure from the power steering pump on this. And the other style is normally a vacuum, which is off the back of the intake manifold to a large metal donut on these. And this Chevy has the Hydro Boost, unfortunately, so we had to wait on the pump. And you'll notice on these pumps it has 2 return lines right there and there. And that would be the high pressure supply line. But yep, here we go. Update motor. Almost there. Alright, I'm just kidding. Who am I lying to? Alright, we are back at it this morning. I'm frustrated. I need this thing off my car lift. Okay, we're going to work out the bottom real quick. We got these quick collectors weld-on flanges. These are actually kind of cool. Like a diesel setup. Make it nice. Okay, working our way through shifter linkage. Set that up, clean our bar up, mount to that $700 Ford tranny. And get your speedo cable. This multiple tank little device here for the switcher is going to be removed. We're going to the single fat tank in the back. Rerunning high pressure lines from the high pressure fuel pump. And we're going to regulate up here somewhere. I'm going to mount somewhere on the firewall fender, something like that. Set that up. And of course my other phone always likes to ring at the wrong time. Get that all set up. I think we're going to be building a skid plate. Since this truck is riding really low, we're going to mount this up where the tank cannot get sacrificed, little ground scraping. And we're going to keep on continuing getting everything hooked back up. Complete our wiring to the fuel gauge, high pressure fuel pump wiring. We make sure we got a good circuit for that. Get everything popped in time. And I just myself noticed I got 180 out right now for the distributor. And just get some fresh oil, antifreeze. We got our serpentine belt set up on, and I can show you that in a minute. We have one more mount going on the front end, actually. Get those popped back on the nose clip, and that's complete. I think I'm going to be cutting this out, actually, redoing the metal work right there. I don't like the look of that at all. This is my brother's truck, so he might beat me up if I don't do it right. Bear with me. I'm going to pause. We'll get her going. And we'll get the exhaust in by the end of the video as well. All right. Here is our pile of crap. This truck was actually a diesel prior to this, 6.2. And we converted it to gas. I don't know if I mentioned that before. Anyway, these are all the old lines, fuel lines, wiring, all that. I've already rewired it for all gas. Now we're adding all the fuel lines and everything. I'm going to go ahead and run a main supply line from the tank all the way forward with a return line, all rubber. And I'm going to use the factory clamping to the frame. We want this nice tight and right. And then we'll retie it in with the regulator up here. So far so good. This is where we're at on it. Bear with me. Let me get these ran. And we're going high pressure from the tank to a regulator up front. Here's our new 3/8 and 5/16 lines. We got piles and boxes of parts, you name it, and ASI fittings or ANI fittings, whatever, and everything to go with it. We'll be popping on new exhaust. I'm actually looking for a driveline yoke. That's another key component I'm going to need. We'll get that all in time. Bear with me. Keep on watching. Alright, getting down to the nitty gritty, all these little fine pieces to add on. This is a fuel pressure regulator. Like I was just stating a minute ago, we're going with the high pressure fuel pump. We will have to run a wire back, and you do have to ground this out. And I am going to tell you, clean your damn grounds, clean them. All metal on them, clean them. Put a good bolt in there, not a self-tapper, by the way. This is the regulator. This is adjusted by this piece right here. And it also includes a fuel pressure gauge. We're going to have to add that in. Now, the high pressure line I got stops right about the fender well. And we were working all this out. Got our serpentine set up on, carb mounted, distributor and everything. I was trying to get that fuel pressure regulator somewhere there on the inner fender well. But we ran out of line just before that. So I'm going to try to get it right under the air box right there on flat ground. I think we got just enough to connect her. And you do have a return line as well, which would be the 5/16. And we're going to work with that. So give me a minute. We got ya. I got the starter in now too. Exhaust is ready to go. Got to find some of these little nooks and crannies. The radiator mounts, that downward style that mounts to the inner firewall or core support. Brand new, baby. Had it in the box from 12 years ago. Other than that, one of the other issues we had to deal with was the power steering to the Hydro Boost, which was in a video earlier. And then I've got to redo some wiring to match to this style alternator, which is different than the style that was on it previous. And I have rewired it for gas instead of diesel, so the whole truck is rewired differently, or the nose section at least, from the fuse panel at the firewall. Just get yourself one on eBay. This is all crap. It's coming out trailer wiring or something. But anyway, this fancy clamp here, these are like $900 a piece. No. Okay, we'll keep on going. Bear with me. I'm going to be drinking beer before the end of the day. I don't even drink. Alright, pull out your hair. Here we go. We're doing 2.5 inch. Well, let me start this off again. Exhaust pipe. 101, 102, and 103. Ha ha. Anyway, we already got our headers, our fancy connectors. Having a brain fart. I don't think I'm on a brain soon. I keep stressing out like I do. Long story short, we're going to run our pipes back. Muffler them in somewhere here, or probably like right here. And then this axle is riding a little low, so you want to definitely shoot up as high as you can. And then go back under, and then straight out the tail. Probably shooting straight out here. Each side, dual exhaust. So there, up over the axle, back down, through the woods. Make sure you wear a red trench coat when you weld all this up. Watch out for the wolf. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get this party started, gentlemen. Woo! Alright, now that I got it on the ground, I like to drop it down to the ground Sorry about the boogery welds. I had to readjust the weld. It's been a while since I used this one, but it's my favorite. Little 110 miller, 141. This thing's awesome. But aside my welder, I like to bring it down to the ground, weld everything up so I know I get every pinhole and it's on point. And I thought we had the mufflers already, and we don't, so we're gonna have to stop right here just behind the cab where the muffler's attached. We're gonna go ahead and get the first set of loop hangers hung at the very back prior to the muffler, which will be right off the end. Now these are offset 40 float or 40 series Flowmasters. Long story short, one end's gonna be low and the other end will be higher. So I don't want to guess. We're just gonna stop right here at the muffler area with the hanger, and we're gonna try to keep this nice and level with the frame. So there you go, bear with me. We're gonna do the other side and then the drive line after that. All right, back at it. Keep it interesting, not the boring long video with the random, hey, how you guys doing? Nah, how the fuck are you doing? Let's fire this bitch up. Somebody's getting kicked in the balls with a burnout on Sunday, 8 a.m. No. Okay, wrapping up on my rant. We modified to a serpentine setup, so this original wiring that comes over here for the alternator with field wire, charge wire, etc. We're going to route those two wires over to here to the new style alternator. The couple that you will need will be the main charge battery post wire there, which supplies it to the starter. And then the other wire, the other power wire, which basically connects the same stuff anyway. That's how I had it connected. And then you got a field wire telling this little guy right here what to do. That's this up. So we're going to go and hook those up. We got to pop a battery in. We've already got our cables all hooked up, buttoned up the tranny. Drive line. We're pretty much ready to rock and roll, other than the connections at the gas tank. But I'm going to let my brother run these special fittings he wants to run. And we're good. Okay, now there's how the drive line turned out. Connected all up lovely. And one other last thing that rubber line, we're rolling like we're all out of brake fluid here. That connects to here. We'll just get a new one that connects to that with the block. Just splits both ways. And then boom, bleed the brakes again. Get the air out. We got a mess in the cab we got to clean up. But one thing out of the way, on to another. And we're going to temporarily hook a tank up just to fire this guy up. I want to see what she does. Bear with me. All right, we're back at it. We got our temporary gas tank hooked up. Let me talk a little louder. Straight pipe, because I'm waiting on mufflers in the mail right now. But yeah, she's running nice and smooth, baby. That's what we like. All right, thanks for watching. All right, we are getting ready. Set up exhaust. The other day when I was last on this, we did not have the mufflers. Now we do. And I'm standing them up. These are offset. They work out perfect to ride the highs. And then basically just go up and over. We're going to try to tuck them right out that way and go out the tail. Probably going to cap them off, or not cap them off, but leave them somewhere right here in this area so we can figure out when we put the bed back on, bumper fitting, the bed fitting, everything lines up right. But there you go. Let me keep on going. We'll resume in a minute. Alright, some of these welds are going to be so tight going up over this axle, you ain't going to have no room to weld around that. Or right there where the axle's right behind this thing. It'll be right here. So you definitely want to hit some pieces like this and then pull your measurements from this to the end of the muffler. That way if you got to give it a slight pitch, you're good. Alright, bear with me, fellas. Alright, it's in action. We got our pipe routed up and over the rear axle. It will be getting lowered, so we ran it as high as possible and then angled out here behind the gas tank. It sounds really, really good. 2.5 inch pipe to the mufflers, 3 inch out. They're both pretty even. Drive line's custom. We made that. Slapped in the brake line so we can actually move it around the yard. We're we're going to be modifying the fuel pump. It won't be keeping this one that's in the picture. This temporary gas tank for moving purposes. There's the real gas tank. We're going to be getting the hitch up under there and making some kind of a skid plate to hold the tank in place. But overall, that's our exhaust. Let me get under here. Get a good shot of the rest of it for you. And the drive line, I made the tip of it seems pretty balanced. We're going to go ahead and roll with that. Thanks for watching.